there is an issue that's troubling this country, and that is how to deal with social justice. We have a country that's now emerged is well known as a culturally diverse nation. One thing that we all overlook constantly is the fact that prior to European settlement, or British invasion, as we call it, Australia was in fact a multicultural society. We had 500 different clanships throughout the country with their different land tenures based on cultural heritage and tradition, with 300 core languages. And the one thing that underpinned the connection between those people and that made us an homogenous group of people is our law, the law of the dreaming. We have connections right across this country through songlines, through the creation, stories. So when we talk about our religious background, we talk about a creation that brought us all into play and into existence, and everything that we have in this country as Australia is all part of the creation that we talk about in terms of our Creator who came up onto this earth and made it all possible and to bring us into existence. But the thing is that we understand that we have protocols, we have relationships, we understand the diverse cultural and ceremonial practices of the different groups. There are groups in this country which are called patriarchal societies, they're matriarchal societies, and these are not too different from what exists in Europe before Europeans came, and even what exists there now. And so we have a history already over the last 60,000 or 100,000 years of our existence in this country, understanding multiculturalism and religious tolerance, because there's different ceremonial practices for male patriarchal societies and matriarchal societies. So we understand the tolerance, we have protocols set in place. And I believe that I can bring a lot of experience to the Parliament in terms of social justice reforms that are absolutely required to take into account the mass diverse nation that we now are, with all these various groups from Asia, from Europe, from Africa, from all those countries who have now immigrated to Australia. And this includes, the people they call the boat people. There's room for us all, and I think we need to work out strategies that will cater for all of those persons. And I think from an Aboriginal point of view, I have an experience in understanding protocols and how to relate to people who have different cultural backgrounds. In terms of getting into the Senate, getting elected to the Senate, one of my priorities will be to introduce legislative reform that will deal with multiculturalism, and also I think we need to make the racial vilification laws a lot stronger. We need to introduce laws in this country which deals with human rights and the rights of people. We need to stop any discussion that promotes or in some way infers that there is racial conflict in this country and stir it on by I think emotive ideals from radio journalists and others who continually sort of have these things as main commentaries and discussions on talkback radio throughout Australia. I don't think that's healthy for the nation, and I think we need to establish a law that certainly trims the edges as to how far you can go before it becomes racial vilification. It's not about suppressing freedom of speech, but it's also about incitement and making sure that we have a greater tolerance rather than sort of talk about the woes and wrongs of other religious groups or other people's beliefs and customs and practices, and then saying that everyone has to become assimilated. After all, what do they call it, Star Trek and the Borgs, and the assimilation of the Borgs by others is only a science fiction. I don't think it has to become reality in this country.